Hi guys, I'm back from vacation, if you couldn't tell by the getup that I'm wearing right now in the heavy duty winter coat. I'm getting ready to have lunch, sitting in a parked warm car on a day where it's 18 degrees where I live. I just wanted to check in really quick and share with you guys something that I learned about myself towards the end of my vacation, that I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more gathering of information and studying this, because and please let me know if you guys have experienced this, because I would really love to hear someone else's experience, if this rings true to you or strikes a chord with you. I think it was the third day before the end of my vacation, and I was getting ready to leave the house to go do laundry once more before we hit the road. Oh, it was the day before we left. It was the morning of the day before we left. I was going to do all our laundry so that we would have all clean laundry with us on the road. So my husband and I had left all the laundry. I had told him to gather up all his laundry and leave it on the bed, and we had like this great big like reusable bag that we were using for our laundry. So I was just gonna get the laundry out of the way, jumped in the shower, got out of the shower, got dressed, went to grab the laundry. It wasn't there. I'm like, where's the laundry? I thought, oh, my husband must have carried it out to the car, but I had my stuff from getting in the shower, my dirty clothes from getting in the shower. So I went to ask him where the dirty laundry was, if he had already carried it out. And my mother-in-law says to me as I walk out in the living room, do you need a laundry basket? And I'm like, my husband was walking in the door at that very same moment that she said that, and I was focused on my laundry in my hands and what happened to the laundry that was sitting on the bed that I was going to add that to. And at the same time she asked that question, I was asking my husband, where'd the laundry go? And he was responding, I carried it out to the car. And so my mother-in-law repeats herself, because I hadn't responded to her. I was listening to my husband, and she spoke up louder, and she goes, do you need a laundry basket? And I was like, it all happened so quickly. And I was saying to my husband, oh, I had some clothes to add to it. And he was saying, well, do you want me to bring it back in? And I was thinking, well, no, I'll just bring it out. And my mother-in-law repeats again, louder, do you need a laundry basket? And I was getting pissed off. So I held my finger up just a minute. And I said to him, I go, did you get laundry soap, or did you just take the laundry out? Because I was going to get the laundry soap too. And he's like, oh yeah, I grabbed the laundry soap. And my mother-in-law again goes, do you need laundry soap? Do you need a laundry basket? And I was like, my blood pressure was through the roof. I was getting so frustrated with her. I just needed her to be quiet so I could have a conversation with my husband and then figure out what I was going to be doing. If I had the laundry basket or the soap out in the car, I could add my laundry to that, and then I could go. Just needed to grab my quarters and stuff. So then I finally figured that out with him, turned to her, and I was like, what is it that you wanted? And she goes, oh, I'm sorry I interrupted. I just wanted to know if you needed laundry soap or a basket. I said, no, he's got the soap. Thank you. I don't need a basket. We have a bag. And we had already gone to do laundry, and she knew that I had this reusable bag. So I didn't even understand. I mean, maybe she was trying to be nice, but it was not urgent that she demand an answer to whether or not I needed laundry soap or a laundry basket. So I was very frustrated with her in that moment. Got out to the car. My husband followed me out there, and he was like, is everything okay? And I'm like, I am sorry that I just bit your head off. I get really pissed off at your mom when she is interrupting and over talking me, and I'm trying to clear something up with you, and I'm very confused as to where the laundry's at and whether you have the soap and how I'm gonna get I said I was trying to figure things out in my head, because I had just gotten out of the shower, the laundry was gone, things were thrown in a kerfuffle, and I was getting very agitated and confused. Made worse by my mother-in-law raising her voice and repeating herself over and over, louder and louder, interjecting herself into this conversation that he and I were having. And I was like, I think I've learned something about myself. I said in that moment, because I was trying to identify my emotions, because I could tell I was pissed off. But anger wasn't the appropriate emotion for what I was feeling deep down inside. So I was trying to process my emotions in the first few minutes after this happened and trying to figure it out. And I was trying to explain this to him, and I had told him, I said, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'm just very frustrated right now, but it's not targeted towards you. I'm just having to sort it out. And I have a feeling it has to do with me being overstimulated by your mom pushing when I was trying to figure it out internally and mentally. And I said, but I'm not sure exactly why. And then once I went to the laundry, so that was the end of the conversation. He was like, I understand, no problem, don't worry about it. And we parted ways. I went to do laundry. My husband and I have a really good arrangement. I don't mind doing laundry. He does all the driving, so it's a fair deal in my opinion. And I only wound up having to go to the laundromat twice, which was nothing. It took like an hour and a half maybe each time. So whoop-de-doo for his 48 to 52 hours of driving that he had to do. And he likes to drive. So, needless to say, sorry, I got to turn my car off for a second because it's getting kind of warm now in here. All that to say then, that was the last day before we left, and then spent 3 days on the road concerned about the storm that was moving through the midsection of the United States. Ice, snow, rain, severe weather in the southeast, just all kinds of issues for the U.S. So my husband and I put in a good couple of days of long driving. What I noticed over the long travel days also is I was going through this alternating or fluctuating mood cycle that was very odd for me. I was very frustrated at times with my husband and wanted to claw his eyes out, alternating with me just thinking that I am and my family is so blessed to have this time off and have been able to make this vacation, and we were healthy the entire time, and my in-laws were healthy the entire time, and we had such a relaxing time, and it was such a wonderful reset. And so there was this polar opposite mood swinging happening with me. And last night I was doing my nails. My nails were not quite dry, and my husband yells to me from the bedroom, the bathroom that's our master bathroom. And he yells to me, "Hey, do you have my toothbrush?" And I was like, "What? Why would I have your toothbrush?" And I got up and went into the bathroom, and I'm just like walking like this, blowing on my nails. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, why would I have your toothbrush?" And he's looking down at the counter, and he has 2 toothbrushes on the counter. And he's like, "Well, these both have some printing on them with our dentist's office on them." And he said, "Mine does not have printing on it. So I was just wondering if you grabbed mine by mistake when you packed up your soaps this morning." And I went, and I went immediately into panic mode, thinking that I had used his toothbrush, which I know we're husband and wife, but that grosses me out. Someone else's tooth grime. I mean, there's a difference between kissing your husband. Seriously, like using someone else's toothbrush, that just is disgusting to me. And so I immediately got pissed off, and I was pissed off in general, not at him, but it was almost at me too. Like, how could this possibly happen? I'm so meticulous with my soaps. Did I grab his toothbrush? So I went back digging through my supplies that I had put away, because I have 2 toothbrushes. I have a travel one and I have a home one, and my home one is pink. And I'm like, so it's got to be this other travel one. I dug back through my travel supplies and I looked, and sure enough, there was a blue toothbrush in there, just exactly like the one he had sitting on the counter next to a teal one, which is my son's. And the one I had did not have any writing on it. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is your toothbrush. How the heck did this get into my soaps?" And he's like, "I don't know. I had it sitting on the counter this morning." And I said, "Well, I had my toothbrush, my toothpaste sitting aside, because we all have our own toothbrushes and toothpastes in my family." Anyway, it wound up being it blew up. Then a few minutes go by, and I'm like, "I am so sorry." And my son's sitting there going, "Why are you guys even fighting in the first place?" Of course, and it's hard for kids when parents fight. They don't understand why it's happening, and they just want it to be over, because from their perspective, it's all the fighting is stupid. you know. So, later I went back to my son and my husband and I apologized for getting so frustrated. I said, I don't want us to go to bed in a crabby mood. And I own my part of the argument that didn't turn into a big mess, but it was just, I could tell inside me that I was snarling. And I apologized to them. I'm like, I don't really understand what's going on with me. I've had a fluctuation in my moods the last couple of days of this trip. I can't identify exactly what's going on. All I can tell you is that I'm sorry, because I know that how I behaved is inappropriately. And they were both very kind and respectful and forgiving. And so then we all went to bed in a good mood, in a good place, you know, fortunately. But then I spent this morning, as I was getting ready for work and stuff like that, trying to identify why all the snarling. And I had done a little bit of research because I got up a little bit before my alarm. So I did a little research about overstimulation and PTSD and CPTSD and mood swings and sensitivity to noise, sound, sudden interruptions and things like that. And I found a ton of information about overstimulation, anxiety, and PTSD and CPTSD, and how trauma triggers the overstimulation response that makes you feel fear or anxiety or anger or sadness or all these negatively associated feelings. And I kind of went, and I didn't have a whole ton of time to research this, but now that I'm back and I wanted to say hello from the Great White North where I live, kind of put it out there for you guys to say, you know, hey, watch out for this, you know, because I still have more research to do and I don't know the answers, but I can tell you that I have been watching myself. I've been paying attention, and I'm realizing that a great deal of the speed bumps that I talk about in my channel are caused by external triggers of my internal past traumas that are triggering those negative emotions like fear and anxiety and stress. Growing up in the home that I grew up in, which was not a peaceful, loving, supportive, respectful home, it was full of anxiety and fighting and teasing and taunting and emotional, mental, and spiritual trauma for me. I really had disconnected, even through therapy and everything, that underlying anxiety that could be triggered and my anger that was being triggered by these overstimulating situations. And it started with my mother-in-law, and then I thought back over some of the things that my husband does, and he has ADHD. We suspect he's not diagnosed. There's been some research that we've done independently since I've gotten therapy to kind of help us understand our own relationship. And he has a lot of ADHD characteristics. One of the things that he does that I've been paying attention to the last few days that I've went, wow, this is a serious problem that would really be helpful for us to understand and work on, is that he overtalks me. He doesn't allow me a chance to answer. He doesn't pay attention to what I'm doing or working on, and he will ask me a question before I have completed task one. And so I get interrupted and distracted by him, and that makes me mad and snarly. Case in point, I was in the middle of drying my nails last night and working on my nails when he asked about the toothbrush. I didn't understand what happened with the toothbrush, but I couldn't process and understand the toothbrush situation because I was in the middle of being frustrated about my nails not being dry yet and trying to figure out how to speed up that process because I had 15 other things I wanted to do before I went to bed last night. When the toothbrush thing came in and he yelled from the bathroom and I didn't know what was going on and I was trying to dry my nails and then had to dig through stuff to try to find his toothbrush. And I was like, holy cow, that whole anger and frustration and argument that wound up not being a huge deal, but could have turned into a huge deal was because he did not stop and take the time to look to see what I was doing and where I was at in the house and wait to ask me the question when it was a good time for me. And I didn't yell back to him or think to yell back to him, hold on, I'm in the middle of doing my nails. If this can wait, please follow up with me in 5 or 10 minutes. You know, it's just the dynamic of conversation that we're not paying attention to because we're kind of busy and just got home from a long vacation and not paying attention and not being mindful. But it's the sort of thing that I feel like we should probably be mindful of or be more mindful of, because it's those little triggers that get us worked up. All these negative emotions are building up from other triggers that we're not really aware of when something else triggering happens, or we have anxiety or fear or frustration or stress about something else unrelated, and the trigger happens, and then all of a sudden it's like, we're just overstimulated is the only word I can come up with. High strung. And I remember midway through our vacation having a conversation with my mother-in-law and her using the word to describe me as being high strung. And I was like, in the moment she said it, I was having a split second of offense and then realizing, yeah, she's right. I am high strung at times. And then a few minutes later, when I was at the laundromat watching and waiting for the laundry to dry and I had some quiet time, I got to thinking and recalled her using the word high strung, not offensively, not maliciously. I know that for a fact. To describe me, and then thinking about what happened right before I went to the laundromat, and then how my moods were fluctuating, and like we're driving in the car on the way home, and one of the things that was pissing me off about my husband is I would be half asleep, you know, just dozing in the car, and he would say something. He'd be like, "Oh my gosh, there's a truck," or whatever, and I'm like, and I'd get startled awake and be pissed off because he's not paying attention to me. And something else, like we're in the middle of a conversation and then he goes to our son, "Hey, look at that, there's this thing." And I'm like, "Hey, we're in the middle of talking. What are you talking about?" And in his ADHD brain bounces around like a pinball machine. He goes from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And I'm very linear and a very straight thinker, and I can do one task at a time extremely efficiently and extremely well. I am your woman. That's why I'm in accounting, because numbers work for me. I'm a very clear, concise, black and white thinker. So when my husband and I are engaging in any activity, in any conversation, and we're in the middle of one topic and he bounces off to something else and then bounces off to something else and then bounces, which happens a lot, it stresses me out and it gives me anxiety. And I did some self-identification, and the reasons why I feel that way is because I feel that what I have to say is invalid, that it's not important, that what he has to say and what he's feeling and thinking in that moment supersedes mine. And I feel disrespected, disregarded, and I feel that shame again. He is triggering me every time he does this. And he has no idea that this is happening. And so it leads to this fight where both of us are just like, I said this and you did this and I did this and you did that. And we're all like, well, which came first, the chicken or the egg? And at the end of the day, it is no big deal. It doesn't matter. It's not important. It's an insignificant argument that should never have happened in the first place. And it's like, wow, if we had paid a little bit more attention to what we were saying and the sequence of events, we probably could have avoided this argument in the first place. I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I hope it's helpful for you, and I hope you're doing well and staying warm and cozy wherever you're at. Thank you so much for tuning into Whole Wellness with Ann, guys. Have a great day. Bye.